Hey everyone, today I am reviewing the book When Breath Becomes Air by Kalanithi. So I listened to this book as an audiobook. This is not necessarily a review, I guess. I mean, it is my thoughts on the book, but it's mostly just saying, wow, I loved this book. Please read it if you're even mildly interested in it. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. It's actually the first nonfiction book that I've read like for fun, because I wanted to and not like for school. So I was really proud of myself for that, and since I loved it so much, I will definitely keep my mind open to more nonfiction books because this book actually had a really huge impact on me. This book is by Kalanithi, and he was a neurosurgeon, but at the age of 36, he was diagnosed with lung cancer and he passed away in 2015. So this is kind of his life story about why he chose to be a physician, to be a neurosurgeon, and how his life changed when he was diagnosed with cancer. So it is a very serious book, but the way Paul writes the book is just so beautiful. Gives it a little bit of lightheartedness. He is funny. His story is just, it's inspiring and it's thought-provoking, it's insightful, it's poignant, it's just beautiful. So we do follow him from the age of a child. He talks about his childhood and how his mother always wanted him to read. She really emphasized the importance of reading, and he read a lot of classics. And so he's really, throughout his life, has always been kind of torn between literature and science, which I can relate to an extent. Obviously, I love reading and have a passion for literature, but I'm also in pharmacy school, so I love science and medical field and all of that. So I could relate to that part of it, and I just thought it was very interesting and fascinating how he talked about it all. When he gets into medical school and all of that, he talks a lot about how doctors treat patients and the doctor-to-patient relationship, which I found to be really, really important, especially, you know, as a pharmacist. We may not deal with patients in the same way that doctors do, but there are a lot of pharmacists that work in hospitals, and I mean, I consider working in a retail pharmacy when you're, you know, dispensing medicine to people, I consider them patients. And so he had a lot of very important points when it comes to that, and it was also really eye-opening because then he himself becomes a patient, and he talks about that flip and how he's a doctor and he's treated people with cancer, but now he's a patient that has cancer. Is he supposed to treat himself, or is he supposed to step back and let other doctors do it? Just really, really a fascinating discussion. Obviously, it's sad because he does talk about death a lot. He talks about life and death throughout his entire life. He had this passion for exploring the meaning of life and gaining knowledge. And so he does talk a lot about what does it mean to be alive. Science, you know, says that humans are animals, we're organisms. What makes us think the way we do? And so that's partially why he went into science. He felt like he needed to know science and know neurosurgery to even begin to understand how humans work, basically. At the end, his wife writes an epilogue talking about his last days and after he passed away. And yeah, I did shed some tears. It is a sad story, but I wouldn't let that significantly deter you. It's just such a beautiful story, and there's just so many important points and impactful points that he makes and just makes you think. It's a wonderful story, and I don't know how else to describe it. I definitely want to reread it or re-listen to it. Listening to it as an audiobook was perfect. Just his writing translates so well to audiobook form, so I would recommend that format if you like audiobooks. I listened to it on a long drive, which was kind of perfect. It's a great story to get lost in and to think about and just keep your mind open. But if you have any at least mild interest in this book, I would highly recommend picking it up. If you are in the medical field at all, you definitely need to read this book. So yeah, I am so happy that I read this book. If you've read it, let me know your thoughts on it below. Also, give me some recommendations for some other really good nonfiction books. I would like to read more, especially since I loved this one so much. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my review, and I'll see you soon. Bye!